Thank you for having me here today. This is very exciting to be here. You know, when we actually get asked to speak to a lot of different groups, and I have this kind of standard presentation I give, and usually it's more for trying to develop a volunteer base or some new client referral sources, and I'll get into what May We Help does in a little bit. But so I have the standard presentation that I'm really kind of have it down, got it down, I'm good with. And so just this last Tuesday, I'm like, you know what, I better kind of take a look at what Creative Mornings is and get ready for the presentation. And so I'm like, well, I'll just go to their Facebook page, and I like the Facebook page, and it pops up, and I'm like, I see my name everywhere. I'm like, what is this? What is this? And so this is more of a something different than the presentation I had in mind. So started to get to work on that, but I looked even a little bit further, and I see Todd Henry spoke last month. And I'm like, oh, I guess they couldn't find anybody who wanted to follow Todd, who's written 2 best-selling books in the creative space, speaks nationally. So we're going to do a really quick, what I want you to do right now is just close your eyes, okay, especially if you were here last month, and just take your expectations and bring them down. Keep going, a little bit more. All right, right there, that should be good, all right, okay. So anyway, I am really excited to be here. I wanted to start off by telling you a little bit about my background as a creative. I worked in the financial industry for 20 years, most of that time at Fifth Third Bank in the private banking department. And so you're probably thinking, banking, creative, how does that work? And it really doesn't. But I would tell you that in my time there, from my boss, and really all the way up to the president and CEO of the organization, they were very interested in ideas from any employee, usually ways to reduce costs or increase revenue, but they were interested in any idea that anybody had. So it really created a great platform for me to be a creative. I didn't really know of that term back then, but I loved working there, and I loved having that opportunity. In fact, it was around 2000, the year 2000, when I brought an idea to my boss, and I said, Fifth Third should be the primary sponsor of a NASCAR team. And they all kind of laughed at that. It didn't go anywhere. I even said, I'd be happy to go to all the races as a NASCAR fan. Lodging, a little help with lodging and some beer money, and I'd be good to go. But so that didn't go anywhere. But I think it was about 4 years ago. You see Matt Kenseth, one of the former Winston Cup winners or NASCAR champions, riding around in the Fifth Third car, and I'm pretty sure that I didn't get any credit for that. But anyway, so fast forward to 2008, we kind of all know what happened. The financial crisis started to come about. And the government's infinite wisdom on both sides of the aisle on Wall Street, they creatively worked together to destroy the financial system. And what that meant for me was this platform of being creative went away. All the empowerment I had as a manager, all the ideas that the bank may have wanted in the past weren't going to work anymore. Everything had to fit into a nice, neat little box. That's the way it is today, unfortunately. So I spent about the next 6 years really not loving what I was doing anymore. It was pretty tough. I was wandering around. Spending 20 years in the financial industry, it's hard just to jump out of that and just go to something else. So in the midst of that time, what I did was I volunteered for a number of organizations. I worked with the One City Foundation and CityLink Center years ago, and doing some fundraising, but also doing some feasibility studies on how to run the building, some kind of offering some ideas on how to do that. Connected to that, I worked with Cincinnati Works, which is a great organization. I did mock interviews for the program participants, and absolutely changed my life. Really helped me kind of understand and learn about the cycle of poverty and the issues we have here in Cincinnati surrounding that. And then I was also went on some mission trips down to Chinandega, Nicaragua, with an organization called Amigos for Christ, based out of Atlanta, and that has been a wonderful experience as well, in developing some long-term relationships with the long-term missionaries down there. So I think maybe I was just kind of getting prepared for this opportunity that came to me out of nowhere to become the executive director at May We Help. Scary opportunity, awesome opportunity, and I was thankful for my wife, who actually kind of pushed me and said, "Terry, you need to go do this." And so I came to May We Help and came to understand the mission, to design and create unique custom solutions for our clients to engage in and pursue their passions. But basically what we do, our volunteers, they make things. They make some really cool things for people to gain independence and to pursue things that they love. I want to tell you a little bit about the history of May We Help. There were three gentlemen that came together, all by the name of Bill. Came together by circumstance, not by coincidence, I believe. And they were all kind of doing a little bit of this, doing some projects to help people with disabilities. And they just started to help each other and started to work on some ideas and talk about this a little bit more. And as it grew, they decided to go to dinner one night, and Bill Wood, one of the founders, said, I have a vision for this. This is something that we can actually build across the nation. We have something special here. And so they decided, 2005, 2006, let's name this. They named it May We Help. They decided to take it more seriously. They decided to find more volunteers. They went through an arduous process, really, of trying to what it looked like to bring in client referrals. And it wasn't easy at first, but they built something to where today we're bringing in a lot of client referrals, each week. In the midst of that, what they discovered was they were filling a gap. There's this gap. Commercial companies make devices, they make chairs, but they make them very broad in general, which makes sense. You couldn't make any money if you made things specifically. But there's this gap. People with disabilities have, sometimes they have specific needs to kind of gain an independence so they can do something that they couldn't do before, or even go down a path of trying to do something that they love. And so they found this gap, and then beyond that, what they found, they weren't just helping the lives of the people that they were creating projects for. They were obviously affecting the lives of the families, but they were also affecting the lives of different agencies like United Cerebral Palsy, the Airman Perlman Center at Children's Hospital, and today Easter Seals and Red One, and the list goes on and on with a number of agencies that we work with today. They were also helping occupational therapists and physical therapists, the people really on the front line with these clients who were trying to do this all along. They were trying to do a lot of makeshift things to help people do various things. But when they met Bill, they found that they didn't have the resources, the capabilities, and the abilities that these guys had. But if they worked together, they could really make an impact on these people's lives. And of course, there's caregivers. Sometimes there's 24/7 care that's needed in these situations. And some of the projects that we deliver just honestly provide a respite for some of these caregivers, which is huge for them. It's huge for everybody. So we have a video that I'm going to show here, and basically I do show this video in all the presentations I have. If I'm in a teller line and somebody asks, "Oh, what's May We Help?" I say, go to maywehelp.org. It's on our homepage. It really does a great job of showing who we are, what we do, and to some extent how we do it. So I'm going to go ahead and play that.
Back when I was about 16 years old, was the day that I stopped wearing prosthetic limbs. But when I passed my driver's test like this, I put the artificial limbs away, and that was also the last time that I was able to ride a bicycle. So, I called May We Help back up. I knew they had some very ingenious people that could figure out solutions to problems, and I just kind of went to them and I said, look, if you're up for another project, I'd really like to start riding a bike with my daughter.
May We Help is all about engineering dreams that engineers an inability into a capability.
Early on, I was working directly with just the art program, and I was working with a group that had pretty significant limitations in holding paintbrushes and pencils and charcoal, and so Bill Wood actually helped develop some very specific equipment for some very specific people to help them be independent.
She was probably 5 years old, and somebody had given her a power wheelchair. This chair had what was a micro joystick. It works so easy, you could work it with a feather. She didn't have the muscle tone to work the joystick. But that's in her arm, she didn't have the tone. But her shoulder, she could move her shoulders fine. So I came up with a device that cradled her arm, and her fingers could be around the joystick, and she uses her shoulder to move her arm forward and back, and in and out. That little girl could drive the wheelchair.
I enjoy working with the kids mostly, getting them to do things they've never been able to do. It's riding a bicycle for the first time, riding a scooter for the first time. And you see the look on their face, and it's just like seeing one of your kids walk for the first time.
Once you're able to see our engineers and our volunteers come around and brainstorm around the need of an individual, and you see that individual presenting their issue or their problem or their inability to perform a desire just for the basics of life, it's absolutely gut-wrenching to see that. And then it's so rewarding to see that individual presented with the end product.
It opens a whole world to them. It gives them a true opportunity to live life without limits. Something that could have been limiting before, they have the opportunity to do now. There was somebody that Bill Wood worked directly with who also used to come here, and she was an avid reader, but she wasn't able to turn pages in a book, and so he developed the page turner for her.
So this chair is the result of some brainstorming about a request that we got from a family on the west side of Cincinnati, and they came to us with this challenge. Can you help us get our son from the floor up into his manual wheelchair? This was currently done by the father, and some medical stuff's happened. It took him out of the game. The mother can't do it. So they came to us and they're like, I don't want to insult your engineers, but what we're looking for is kind of like just a motorcycle jack and a seat. We're like, that's not insulting at all. That's a great idea.
I think it's really great that we can call with an idea and say, look, this is what we want. Here's our puzzle that we have. This is what we want the outcome to be for this person, and that you guys just kind of go hog wild.
The best part of this organization is helping others. We're blessed that we can do this.
So like I said, I think the video does a good job of kind of really showing what we do and how we do it. But something that Chris Kubik, our project director, and I kind of over the last 12 to 18 months decided to kind of take a deeper look is, well, why do we do what we do? And I mean, I think you could say it's pretty self-evident why we do what we do. We're filling a gap, and we're helping people do things they couldn't do before, helping families and agencies and so on, all the stuff I just said. But as we kind of talked about it, we found that there's more to it than that. What it really is, and what it starts with, is hope, or really, in a lot of cases, the lack of hope. Really imagine not having the ability to grow, not to grow in your confidence and your abilities. Just imagine being a 13-year-old boy, not having the hope that you would ever really be able to take a shower by yourself through the course of your life. And let me stop for a second and say, I mean, there are people with disabilities everywhere who overcome enormous odds and do amazing things, and it's beautiful. But what we mostly find is people don't have the encouragement and the resources to get to that point. So in the absence of hope, we find is what we have acceptance, right? So they they understand, well, this is what I can do and this is what I can't do. This is the way my life is going to be, because to dream about something else that's not going to happen, well, that really doesn't make sense for that individual. There's not really any hope there. So we thought, well, what does it look like with what we do? And we see it's like we're crashing into this person's world. And there's just a moment where we just crash right into it, in between this acceptance and hope. And I want to show you another quick video here. And what it is, it's a delivery visit for a gentleman who, in an automobile accident, he lost his right arm. I believe it was his right arm. And again, he simply just wanted to ride a bike. So let me find that. Well, Jeremy gave me great instructions here, but I'm obviously very challenged. Oh, yeah, I can't find it. I don't see the tab on here. Oh, I see. I needed to look both ways. Let's play that for me.
I'm excited to see what you guys came up with.
It's out there waiting.
No way! That is so rad! That is insanely awesome! No way! You guys are the shit! That is awesome! This is the coolest design ever. This is really cool. This handlebar is sweet. Yeah, I like this. Like, I can hold it like that. Yeah.
You want to try it out?
I want to take photographs of it.
All right. Yeah, let's do that.
Go, go, go.
There he goes.
Yeah.
He's moving, man.
I know, smooth.
That is perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sweet, man.
Yeah.
You look like you already got a hang of it.
I can actually get torque.
Yeah. Yeah, you just went up a hill.
Sweet.
How was it?
If you had told me I could have done that a month ago, I never would have believed you. That's insane.
Sweet, man.
You guys are geniuses.
You just rode up a really steep hill.
There's a lot of things that I like about that video. I love the humor of it, of course. The first time Chris showed it to me, I was laughing my butt off. And I suggested to him, well, maybe we should get some t-shirts that say, "May we help? We're fucking geniuses." Might not go over well everywhere, but what you didn't hear from Jeremy in the beginning was, before the video kind of started, was he was mentioning to Chris that he didn't really want to stay in contact with him, didn't want to see pictures of what was going on. He was just going to kind of wait. And kind of what that brings me back to is, you know, kind of this moment in between acceptance and somebody who's offered to provide him some hope, not really wanting to be sure if that's going to happen or not. So, but then you see him come outside and he's kind of walking around this bike and he's like, "This is insane, this is crazy." And to me, that moment right there is the crash. We've crashed right into his life. And what happens next, or really, I want to talk about when he comes back around that second time. I really love how it's so pure and raw when he says, If you would have told me a month ago that I would be able to ride this bike, I would have told you you were crazy. And so we've crashed into his life, and now what Jeremy has to deal with is this acceptance that he's had before. And having that hope, really acceptance isn't a viable option anymore. And so he has to wrestle with that. And the next why that happens is Jeremy or our clients usually come back because they want more. There's this thought that if I can do this, what else can I do? Right? And so we can do more projects for them, move them along a path of greater independence, additional pursuit of passions. And the ultimate why behind what we do becomes they can be known for their strengths and not their weaknesses. They can be known for who they are and not their disability. Jeremy can be known as the guy in the neighborhood who rides around on his bike, not the person that doesn't have an arm and they see from time to time. He's the person that provides inspiration to the community. What it means, kind of the why for the volunteers, I would say that even in the midst of a relatively easy project, there's greatness. And the reason for that is because nobody else will make this for Jeremy. It's too specific. There's nobody out there really doing this. And so there's greatness in that, and they feel that, and they get to experience that and build relationships with clients. And for the organization, the why for us, and what we have to do with the why is we have to profess it. And that's what we do. We like to go around and tell people why we do what we do. I did get a chance to watch Todd's presentation from last month, and I liked how he broke down the word of mediocrity. Medius, ochris. Medius meaning middle way, or just kind of coming midway. Ochris meaning the mountain. And so just kind of stopping halfway up the mountain. And what stuck with me really very quickly is at May We Help there can be no mediocrity. We meet a client and the next time we see him is at the top of the mountain. There's a process in between and sometimes it's tough, but we always meet them at the top of the mountain. I just want to leave you with kind of three challenges today. One, crash into acceptance. Use your gift of creativity to crash into things that are just accepted. When you have ideas, don't just use what's already out there, what people are saying this is the way we've always done things. Just crash into that. Secondly, provide hope when no one is in search of it. You've been given great minds, beautiful minds. Provide hope. When your project or your work seems mundane, search for greatness because someone's asked you to create something that's never been created before. Thank you for listening and inviting us here today. I want to bring up Bill Sand. He's one of our founding members, one of our founders, and Chris Kubik. He's our project director to kind of help with any questions you all might have. Ladies first.
So what's the process? How does somebody contact you? Do you go and just sort of observe them, with the issues that they're having or the problems that they're trying to overcome, or how does that work? And then do you go get specific funding for that project, or is it just funding that comes in for general use?
Okay. Well, the first part of that question I'll let Chris answer, and then I'll answer the second part.
Okay.
So there are a lot of devices and companies that are making a lot of really great things. Certainly, it's 2014 now. There's a lot of really great stuff that you can just buy. So the first thing we do is just Google search. And we actually try to look for consumer goods, not adaptive handicap goods, because there's like a large tax for that. So if we find anything, we refer it. And about a third of our requests can be referred to either known services, hey, there's another organization that does that, or a company that does that. If there isn't anything, and if that, if they highlight immediately, no, that won't work because of X, Y, Z, I'll go and record a video of the problem statement or the challenge. We call it a discovery video. And then we play that back every month. So all the requests between month to month, we play at these monthly meetings. And we come up with a blueprint, kind of brainstorming what this should be. And then we look in our list of like 120 volunteers who would be good at making that solution. And so we build a team and then introduce them, and then they're, you know, off to the races. And that's Bill's thing. He makes a lot of stuff. So that's our how in a nutshell. And then I'll let you answer.
Yeah, funding is a big part of my job. So grant writing, we've put together 2 events now. We just had our 2nd annual dinner where we kind of recognize some of our senior volunteers and a partner in the community. Those events have gone very well. You know, just grant writing, we've done pretty well. I mean, we're a pretty unique organization, so it's worked for us. So.
Yeah, I just heard, I coach for a Challenger Baseball League, and one of the little boys on our team, he is obsessed with NASA, and he just received a bag from...
Yeah. I can show you a video of that delivery visit if you want to see it.
Yeah, he's very excited. He's still talking about it all the time.
Yeah, we're actually working with some of our volunteers out at GE Aviation are working with the Joe Nuxall Field, and we're going to be Miracle League.
That's
Thank
Miracle
you.
League, yeah.
Yeah, Miracle League, and we're building something for them so the kids can swing the bat by themselves.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. I think he was next. Can I go to him first?
The size of the projects, are they, you know, you assess these in the video and you say, okay, we think we can get to a good solution for hundreds of dollars here, a few thousands of dollars here, and this one might be a big one at $10,000 or something. How does that work? And then you fundraise on a project-by-project basis, or you put everything together? As in like one pool, and then you budget for the project.
You want to tell me?
I can address that. We've got one, and I'd say most of our projects, the material is donated, all of the labor is donated. I don't know what the most expensive project is to date. Do you have any idea?
I mean, they can be a couple thousand, but
would be the
like
most expensive so far.
like Bill said, I mean, our volunteers, especially our senior volunteer team, have a network, and once you tell people what you're doing, a lot of times, you know, we're willing to spend the money. We will not do a project that we're not using the very best materials and best tools. We won't. But we get a lot of it donated because of what we're doing.
I'll tell you a little story. I was hunting for a specific aluminum extrusion for a project. So I'm on the web and I contacted this company up in Minneapolis. I said, hey, I'm interested in 2 inches of this extrusion. The owner of the company emailed me back. His name was Ford. And he said his daughter has a disability. I think she has 1 arm. He says, anything in our catalog is yours, just let us know.
That's great.
So, and this happens all the time.
Yeah.
So, how many employees do you have? You say you have 100 and something volunteers. And
Right.
are all of your volunteers engineers, or are there some carpenters, or what are the three?
Our volunteer base are engineers, designers, tradesmen, could be carpenters, plumbers, sheet metal workers. We've got women who sew. We've got Amy, she does event planning. She's a volunteer. So our volunteer base is huge, and it's
Growing.
It's everybody.
It's everybody. Industrial designers, I mean, we need creative people. I mean, you don't have to be an engineer. I mean, we have lots of people. So if you have interest, you go to our website.
And how many employees there are?
There are 2.5. I'm the executive director, and Chris is the project director, and we just recently hired a part-time development director, which will help with the fundraising, whoever asked that.
Do you ever take some of your solutions and productify them and make them more widely available to the world that might have the same needs?
That is a goal. That is a huge goal, and we're beginning to talk about that because some of the products that, or some of the projects that we've done. I don't know if you want to add anything. You're really kind of heading that up.
So when we started, there was this kind of hokey term, but you get 3 bills and you don't have to pay
a nickel
bill, right? So we had been talking with some clients that had requested the same thing over and over. We're like, well, we are a prototyping company. We're not a production company. So to make them over and over again, this really doesn't fit. But we had a client's a mother, which they are incredible. They said, we don't mind paying, if there's still nowhere we can get this. And we don't mind paying something reasonable. And for some reason, that was like a revelation to us. So this year, or by the end of 14, hopefully in the third quarter, we'll be doing a Kickstarter for one of those as an attempt at bringing something to more people, because that is the best way to steward something that more people could need.
And at the very least, sharing design elements so someone else in another ship can recreate the solution.
Yeah.
Or going to somebody like Trek Bicycles and saying, here's this unique handlebar for handicap. And they probably put you all behind what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's producing.
We would love to provide what isn't provided yet and serve these people that aren't being served in the cracks. So hopefully we get a better handle on what that looks like. It's outside of what we do, but it's going to be a fun year finding that out.
You had a question?
He's a genius. I think that's a question. Think about open source mechanics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Exactly it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we would actually like to partner. They don't know this, but we're going to call Instructables and maybe Thingiverse and see what we can put out there for DIY. Here's our steps. So that means more like tracking how Bill and the other volunteers do what they do, getting progress photos and dimensions and all that. So a little more on the front end, but yeah, that would be great for someone in Minneapolis to pull up a 5-step thing on how to convert your bike or whatever. So, yeah.
You guys mind sharing a project that you're particularly proud of, or maybe just one that comes to mind? I just kind of want to hear a little bit more about the different projects maybe that you've done.
I'll tell you about 2 of them. One is a very quick, easy project. It's for a little boy in Anderson. He wanted to play the violin. And he had part of a thumb, born with part of a thumb and part of his baby finger. And that was the bow hand. So how does he hold a bow? Well, I'm a design engineer. We've got 3D printers at work, so I designed something in SolidWorks, if you're familiar with SolidWorks, put it in a 3D printer. We delivered that. He could hold the bow and play the violin. I've done 3 versions of it now. I think he's growing and had to make it larger. But what's fascinating about this is within 2 weeks of making the first one, we got a request from somebody in California whose daughter had the same condition, asking if we could do this. I just created one and sent it out to them. They didn't see this on the web or anything. They found us and just so there's this need out there, and need for multiple, but trying to find them people. I guess our poster child for projects would be a family in Pennsylvania. They have 2 daughters who play the cello, and we make cello stands for them. It holds the cello horizontal, and we make bow holders because the girls don't have arms, and they play the cello. So it's fascinating, and they're good.
They're real good.
They're real good. Inga, the oldest girl, has been flown to Texas to perform. All expenses paid. They just fly her down there and she performs. So it's really neat.
And it's growing. So as these kids play, there's more cellists that play with their feet. And so we've been contacting them last week for our first full-size cello stand. So it's
Somebody
really cool.
in Virginia.
Yeah, they're spread out, but it's a really tight network.
And you're talking about when it's like, how many can you handle those requests at one time? Is there a breaking off point that you're too busy at one point, that you don't have enough people to handle those situations?
We currently have 38 in progress, and it's just a matter of asking for more stuff for free. So, hey, this solution needs this.
The brains and the people putting them together. I didn't know if you had enough of the people who actually put them together.
I mean, the more we spread the word, I mean, this is such a unique philanthropic outlet for somebody like Bill. You can't do anything like this anywhere else with their specific skills and abilities to help somebody with a disability. When we spread the word, I mean, people come. I mean, so it just seems to the demand and the volunteers just seem to continue to keep matching each other, and we'll just keep spreading the word.
See, in our organization, I can't do what Terry does. I can't get up here and speak. I'm not organized like Chris. I can't do that. But I can design, and I can work with my hands. That's what I enjoy doing. This organization allows me to do that. And all the other volunteers who don't like doing, the typical volunteer work, we're good at what we do, and we love what we do. I enjoy creating. Been going through 50 years. So, it's just a unique organization that way.
Yes?
So you've got, a lot of creative class here. How may we help?
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
You want to take that?
Yeah. Hopefully first quarter next year, we're going to have an alternative volunteering open house. And we have like different initiatives, different teams, volunteer teams. It's like a marketing team and a product development team, fundraising team, web team, whatever. So we're going to have booths set up, and if you're interested, come and we'll put you on a team to get on the front line.
I'll leave some business cards up here. People want to just send us an email.
Or you can go on
mailer.
Yeah.
Or you can go online, maybe help.org, and there's a icon to click somewhere to volunteer.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, thank you so much.